Hi everybody, welcome to, I was thinking, Monday Morning Book Buzz.
That's what I say.
Hi guys, welcome back to the summer reading program. This week marks a week where we're going to identify different yoga poses and learn a lot about being zen and stress-free. And I brought a friend of mine from the library with me. She's going to tell us a little bit about what she's gotten into with yoga. This is Miss Heather from the library.
Hi. When I was in college, I got to my junior year without finishing the phys ed requirement. And I had to take a class when I didn't really have time to take a class. Everything that I wanted to do was filled, and there was only one yoga class to take. So, in spite of never having been the slightest bit interested in yoga, I took a yoga class, and I have done it ever since. I do a little bit of yoga every morning and every night, and I love it. I love doing yoga with children because the most important part of it to me with kids is headspace. And I have generations now of children who have said, Miss Heather, we must do some yoga. I need some headspace for listening. And that was what really, to stop whenever we got off the track or we were too excited to sit down and listen to stories, we can do yoga and get space in our heads. And then the best thing for grown-ups is that flexibility, is maintaining our balance and being strong and being able to get on the floor and get up from the floor and walk miles and miles. And those are some of the things that I like about yoga.
Well, very good. And we're going to be walking through a couple yoga poses right now, so go get mom and dad, go get your kids, everybody in the family participate, and we'll have Miss Heather show us some moves. Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so here we are. First of all, I've got to tell you, I am not a professional yoga teacher. I'm an ordinary person who does yoga. And I don't even do it that well. I just do it every day, and I love it. So let's do it together. I think we'll start by sitting down. It's always a good way to start yoga. As we were talking about in the introduction, yoga makes people healthy, it makes people flexible, and it gives you some peace of mind. I think most importantly, yoga is about breathing. So let's start with a position. This isn't an animal position. This is called the lotus position. And so we're being a flower. I've got my legs crossed, and I'm sitting on my bottom, and I'm thinking about my back being straight and going straight up to the top of my head. And I'm thinking about how I'm connected to the earth and I'm connected to the sky. I could put my hands up here like this over my head, and I can feel that connection to the sky. And I can feel myself like a flower growing up towards the sun, reaching out for the rain, and meanwhile, being totally safe and secure on the ground. That's the lotus position. You don't need special equipment to do yoga, if I haven't mentioned that before. That's one of the many great things about yoga is you can do it anywhere, anytime. You can do it in the chair, you can do it before you get out of bed in the morning. You don't need special equipment. It's nice to have stretchy clothes, and it's pretty comfortable if you have a mat. So here we are on our mat with our stretchy clothes, and we're thinking about breathing. So let's start with that, and let's think about how breath brings us everything that we need to feed our body. And yoga takes that breath all around your body to all the different parts. So when you reach up high in the sky and you take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, you can feel that oxygen going all the way up to your fingertips. That's what you're going to remember in each of the poses that we do. Feel that oxygen rushing around in you and getting to all the places that it needs to be. I think that yoga is perfect for the theme this summer, Tails and Tales, because animals are all about yoga. They do without thinking about it. They don't call it a name, they don't do anything, they just do it. And if you watch the animals around you, you'll see that no one is better at relaxing than animals. And yet, the time comes for them to go, and bam, they're on it. So, let's think about some animals. We're gonna start with a cow. All right, so let's be on our hands and knees like this, and kind of sag the middle of your back. Maybe droop your head. You feel like a cow at all? Just hanging around in the pasture. Now, suppose that you arch your back up and you pull your stomach in tight, breathe through your nose and squish your stomach up and send your back up really high. You might be a cat. And if you think about it, like, you might have a cat face. That's the cat pose. Another thing that cats do is stretch out very far with your hands as far forward as you can get them and all the way squished down on your knees. You can put your forehead on the ground. This feels great and you feel like a cat. Sometimes cats sit up on their knees, and this is a great way to breathe like a lion. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and maybe roar like a lion. Roar! That's pretty good. It feels good inside, and if you get really angry sometimes, this helps a lot. You can just rear up on your knees, take a deep breath, and roar like a lion. That's the cat pose. Now, cats are very close to dogs in our home, but they're very different animals. So while the cat is busy arching and stretching, dog is more of a wiggler. So if you stay on your hands and knees like a four-legged animal, and then maybe just hold your back straight, more like a dog's back, straight from your head to your tailbone, and then curve your tail to one side and look over your shoulder. Look at your tail, and then the other side. Now you're wagging your tail like a dog. And it's also good for your back. Now here is the classic dog pose. We are gonna put our hands in front of us, right underneath our shoulders, lift up on our toes, and we are stretching like a dog in what's called downward dog. And when you're in this position, it feels great. Move your heels toward the ground. If you can put them all the way on the ground, great. Don't worry if your knees aren't straight. You can keep them bent if you want. And let your head hang down. Just hang down. Pull down your shoulders a little bit and lift up your tailbone like a happy dog. And that is downward dog. And you know there's something really good about having your head upside down. So if every day you do nothing else, it's great to put your head down and the rest of you up. All right, now, suppose that we are a lizard. We could do something that's really called plank pose, but for me, it seems like a lizard because lizards do this all the time. They arch their back, they arch their neck, they arch their back. This is how they show off to each other. This is how they attract. This is how the male lizards attract women. So I like to think of the plank pose as a lizard pose. And from the plank pose, it is a quick drop down to your knees, down to your chest. Put your forehead on the ground and your hands right underneath your shoulders, and you are a snake. Feel that? You could be just lying in the sun, your toes next to each other, your hands on the ground, and then lift up your head like a snake, like a cobra. This is called the cobra position, and it's very good for your back. Push gently, but you don't have to push too hard. And from the cobra position, let's go back up on our knees and stretch again with the stretched out cat pose. Very good. Now I think we're ready to stand up. because this is my favorite pose, starfish. I love starfish in the summertime, and where we live, you can see them on the beach. Starfish look like sometimes you find them and they're just all stiff. I've got my feet out and my hands out and my fingers out, and I'm stretched out, sort of stiff. But starfish are not stiff, they bend. And you can do that when you're doing the starfish pose. You can bend to one side, bend to the other side, and they don't just bend, they twist. So you can give yourself a twist. And starfish pose has no rules. You can touch your toes and reach for the sky. You can twist to one side. You can twist in the air. I love the starfish pose. And we are going to end with a non-animal pose, a mountain pose. This is when you turn your body into a mountain. So I am going to stand with my feet about the same distance as my hips, flat on the floor. And I'm going to spend a minute here concentrating on my feet and feeling the earth underneath them. I can feel my toes and my heels, every part of my feet touching the ground. And I can feel the strength in my feet going right up through my legs and right up through my spine and right up through that string on the top of my head, right up to the sky. I'm going to bring my hands down to my side. I'm going to roll my shoulders back and then roll them forward. And I am feeling like a rock, really strong. I'm going to open my palms forward, let my shoulders drop back, and my head is going straight up. I'm not looking up, I'm not looking down. I'm looking straight ahead, and something is pulling me upwards. I am standing here and I am a mountain. And there might be mountain goats all over me, but I don't care because I am strong as a rock. And that's what yoga does for me. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you guys for coming to this video and watching us go through some yoga. We hope you got some of that headspace Miss Heather told us about. Feel free to join us for the rest of the summer reading program. We have tons going on, like coloring sheets and contests and competitions for all of you guys here at the library, and of course, stories. Our theme is Tales and Tales after all. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Happy reading.